Hello, love. This morning I am getting ready to go to Costco, and I thought that my nose is so itchy. I thought that I would show you maybe kind of my everyday makeup routine, what I would consider an everyday makeup routine. My makeup can switch a lot, so keep that in mind. And if it looks like I'm not looking directly at you, it's because you are in my mirror right now. So I hope this is fine. This is the setup we got. I think it's kind of cute. So how are y'all doing? How is life treating you these days? If I'm being honest with you, and I know this might be a controversial thing to say, but I think I'm actually doing well. I think I'm doing okay. I think when we talk about like how we're feeling, stuff like that is so easy to just go with the universal feeling of like, oh, well, the world is in doom and gloom, so I too should be feeling doom and gloom. And if I don't, I should feel bad for feeling okay, for feeling personally happy. I think we forget that two things can exist at once, right? Like, personally, I am feeling really, really great. I understand that on an economic, global scale, there are things happening, but also at the same time, things are always happening. Two things are always happening at the same time, yin and yang, bad and good. Like, two things can exist simultaneously at once. These days, personally, I am feeling really, really good. Oh my God. Can I also just flex on my skin for a second? I have chronically dry skin, and my skin is actually feeling kind of plump and like not crusty, and that's also how we know it's gonna be a good day at Costco. All right, I'm gonna find some sweet treats, some sweet fun treats. My bonnet. So I like to do my makeup with my bonnet on because have you ever seen an ugly bald black woman? No. And if you said yes, you are lying. The answer is no, okay? And I like to wear a bonnet when I'm doing my makeup because it helps me channel my inner bald bitch, essentially. And I know that my makeup is going to look amazing because I don't have any hair to hide behind right now. All I have is my big open face, and I gotta make sure that it looks good. Speaking of face, so on my honestly, I would say actually most of the time when I do my makeup, I'm just wearing a tinted moisturizer. I do have a full coverage foundation that I love to wear when I'm doing like full glam, like if I'm going out at night or something like that. But if I'm just doing my makeup for the day, or even if I'm just playing in makeup, I will typically just use my tinted moisturizer. The one I really love is from Win Beauty, which I did not think that I was gonna get a favorite out of out of a Tennis Pro's makeup line. That was never something that occurred to me, but here we are. And it's because it's one of the very few foundation skin tints that actually comes in my shade. I have a really strange, maybe golden or olivey undertone. Maybe it's rosy, I don't really know, but it's been really hard for me to, everything shows up on me so orange. And I mean, everything is orange on me. And it's kind of a nightmare. So maybe I'm just really neutral. I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. But this has been a skin tint that just perfectly melts into my skin. And it gives me a decent amount of coverage. It's not full coverage because it's a skin tint, but it's enough. And then I'll go in with the ye old NARS concealer to hide my hyperpigmentation on the lower half of my face. That's just there, and I accept it for what it is. She is in my life, and we don't really fight with each other anymore like we used to because I just don't. I'm too happy. I'm too fine. I'm too content. I'm in my 30s. That's really what it is. I'm too in my 30s to really give a shit. What is your Costco plans like? Do you like go in with an idea of like, okay, I'm gonna get these items? Because I'm gonna be real honest with you, I think I have most of my staple items here. So I don't really know why I'm going to Costco except to maybe have a fun time in Costco. And sometimes you just like to leave the house. And Costco is the best way to leave the house because it's Costco. Do I need a reason? Do I need a much more reason than that? Now, I am going to do a little highlighting of the face. Nothing too serious. This is about how much I highlight my face too when I'm wearing like a full face of foundation. I'm really into, I want my base to naturally look as good as it can. So I try to take care of my skin first, and then my makeup on top is really just to like enhance that. I like to have the most fun when it comes to colors. Okay, my base, I'm not too fussed about playing around with that, but like my eyeshadow, my blush, my lipstick, those are for me where the real fun starts to happen, the real magic, I guess, starts to happen. And since today is an everyday face, the magic is going to be quite minimal, but it's fine. I am taking my contour shade, this Fenty Stick in Espresso, and I'm just going to define my cheekbones. I've also started to see that, is it like retaining water? I don't really know. Like my face, I don't think I ever noticed how puffy my face is in the morning compared to by the end of the day, but I have started to notice it now. I don't know if that's just a new thing about getting older or what, but I can especially see it in my eyelid area. Like this actually isn't even the worst of how puffy my eyelids can get, but this part of my eyelid will get so full of water that it will almost look like I have hooded eyes. Like it's kind of insane. When I would say I have honestly a quite hollow face. You can see the bones in my face, but usually by the end of the day, and so I like to use my contour to kind of help emphasize that, because I like a corpsey kind of look. That's just, I know that's not going to be everybody's aesthetic, and that's the great thing about there being so many tutorials here on YouTube, is if my aesthetic isn't for you, you can find somebody whose aesthetic is. I like more of a corpsey, hollowed out look in my makeup, and so that is what I try to create here. My what is this, my contour shade. I do think that this shade that I'm using, while it might be the appropriate depth, I do think it's actually more of a bronzer than it is a contour shade. I do think it could be cooler, but I also know that it is very, very hard to find deeper, cool toned contour shades. So if you know of one that's a cream, I do prefer a cream because then I'll set it with powder. If you do know of one that's a cream, please let me know down below, because that would be really helpful. I want more of like a ghoulish face and it's just kind of hard to do that if I'm putting warmth in my face. Like that kind of feels like it's defeating the purpose, right? I'm trying to decide. I think today, because I did not bleach my brows and they probably do need to go in for another bleach soon, I am going to put a little bit of concealer in my brows just to further emphasize their bleachiness. I don't go for a white bleach brow that's very intentional. I go for a brow that's very close to my skin tone, because I do personally, I like the texture of having brows. I just don't want them to appear on my face. So, and then I just take my finger here and just clean up the edges. But this is just to make sure that any black hairs that may be growing in or sprouting through, they are, and I'm not using a lot, but once again, my brows, like I said, my brows are already bleached, so I don't have to use a lot of concealer. I just need enough to get the job done. And see, now I got no brows. Just what I wanted. Now, on any other day, I would let this concealer sit for a little bit longer so that it gets super thick, like thick. But today, I'm feeling pretty impatient, so I'm just gonna go in with my beauty blender and blend everything out. I'm realizing now I forgot to contour my nose, but that's okay, because I can just do that. And I only use my beauty blender on the middle portion of my face. I actually go in with a brush to then do my under eyes. And that's just because, I don't know, I love the coverage of blush. I feel like a beauty blender tends to suck product up, and a brush just doesn't have that. So it doesn't suck anything up because it's not a sponge. And so I'm able to get the full effect, the full coverage of a concealer. I might use my beauty blender after I use my brush to kind of, melt everything together, from my foundation to my contour to then my concealer. But the initial blending, I'm not going to use my beauty blender for. because do you see the difference between the kind of coverage that offers and then that up there? Like, it just offers more because it can't be absorbed by the sponge. And I guess the way to remedy that is to just use more product, but no, you can't make me. You can't make me. That's just not how that's gonna work. I do feel like I have more concealer on one side of my face than the other does, so we're gonna go in and amend that. My nose contour, I forgot. A little trick I've recently picked up for my nose contour is I'm actually gonna go in from this area of the nose and down. I used to go from the top of the brow down. It just didn't make sense for my nose shape. So I'm gonna go in from the inner corner of my eye, and then I just have some of this cream product, and I'm just going to take it down. And it just, all it does is just emphasize. I'm not trying to change my nose shape. I don't care about changing my features, all right? If I wanted a nose job, I would have had a nose job by now. I don't care about changing the shape of my nose. I'm just trying to reprofile my nose again because all that foundation, all that concealer has kind of flattened everything out. And I just want to make sure that it looks like I have a nose, you know? I'm not trying to look like, what's that guy? Lord Voldemort? I'm not trying to look like him. I want my nose to come back to life. And like, that's cute to me. That's perfect. That's cute. My face looks radiant. We are good. And now we are going to set the under eye. I'm using a pressed powder, and anything that I'm using, I'll just have it linked down below so you don't have to like ask me no questions, all right? Just tell me about what contour you're using, because legitimately, that is a question I have for you. If you're black, if you're white, babes, I'm sorry, it's just not gonna work for me. But if you are black, please let me know what you're using. That's not a bronzer. It cannot be a bronzer. For the life of me, please do not suggest a bronzer. I do not want it. Contour, gray, cool toned. Before I did that, I should have sprayed my face with powder. I mean with, what is this? Setting spray. I forgot to do that, but before you put your powder on, set your face with setting spray and then go in with your powder. And it just helps everything stick and melt together much better. And I'm putting my face powder. This matches my skin. I'm just putting it all over my face for the last bit of coverage and also just to kind of lock everything all in there. My contour powder. And I will tell you, it's taking me a little bit longer to do this than normal because I'm filming it, but this really only does take me probably about 15-minute tops. It doesn't take me very long, but I think once you know your face and once you know your makeup, it's just easy to do it fast. Like, this might take somebody else a little bit longer until they get used to doing it. Like, it's taking me a little bit longer because I'm trying to film it, but it really doesn't take me that long to do my face, my everyday face. And sometimes I'll even skip out on some of these steps and do even less than this. It really just depends on my mood. But I haven't worn makeup in a while, so I'm feeling a little bit more extra than maybe normal. That was the wrong shade, but it's fine. Here, super easy. Just gonna take a deep brown shade, put that all over my lid. This part goes by real fast because this is literally the easiest part. My face is probably the most difficult part. This is just, because I know what this is. I know exactly what this is gonna be just about every time I do it, so. Deep brown color all over the lid. Kind of almost haphazardly. Just make sure you are blending. We don't want any harsh lines. If I was smart, I would have put my primer on, but I forgot to do that. So we're just gonna roll with it. I feel pretty chaotic when I'm filming, I'm not gonna lie, but I am trying. Then I'm gonna take a red blush and put that on my cheeks. It's not gonna look, it sounds scary. Red blush sounds scary, but it's really not. It's just like a nice flush to the cheeks. And I like to blend my blush into my eyes, but that's because I really enjoy an 80s style blush. You do whatever suits your face, babe. Then we're gonna do some mascara. Sometimes I'll put black liner on my lower lash line. I don't know if I'm gonna do that today. I might not, just because honestly, I don't know if I feel like it. We'll see. But I do mascara top and bottom lashes. I know people are anti the bottom lashes. I don't care. Pry it from my dead cold hands. I'm doing it. I don't think I'm going to today. I think I just want to make sure I have enough mascara on my bottom lashes. That looks pretty to me. And then lips. There are two lips I either do. I either do a dark red lip or I do a nude lip. Today, let's do dark red. I'm gonna go in with, once I finish sharpening it, I'm taking No Whining, and that's what I'm gonna use to line my lips. And I know people like to blend their lip line. I've realized I hate that look. I like a harsh lip line if it's even going to show. So I don't blend. You blend if you want to. I don't like to blend. I like that very 90s thick prominent line. And then I'm going to go in with my favorite matte deep red vintage Vamp from Dafna Beauty. Clean up whatever lines are there. I'm going to take a lip brush and just fill them on in. And if you find your lips are a little crusty, like mine can be because it was winter time, just put a little cocoa butter on your lips first, and then that should help. Super simple, literally in 15 minutes. Let me also put on highlight. I love a highlighter. I'm going to use, I think I'm gonna go in with this Dafna Beauty one. I switch them around. It really kind of depends on my mood. I'm gonna go in with this Dafna Beauty one called Glow and put that cheekbones, nose, forehead, whatever's left goes on my chin. I don't actually really want to highlight my chin super much, but you know, just enough. Make sure that's nice and blended in. And then I take down my hair, and then this is the full look. So hopefully this kind of gives you a little bit of insight as to how I do my makeup every single day. Like I said, it usually only takes me about 15 minutes, but today it took me a little bit longer because we on filming time. And let me know if there's anything else that I can film for you. I think I'll probably do more makeup videos if this one pops off. And until next time, bye.